Brandon Haynes joins us from the Man-Eater. Wasn't that a Hall and Oates song? Yeah. Brandon, thank you for the time. It's a treat to have you on, and good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Well, we are really happy to talk about Mizzou. It's come up quite a few times already. Coach Strink, a regular here. He's, at least to me, seems like he would be the ideal favorite of students on campus. How is he regarded on that campus?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Extremely high regarded. Just quite a personality. I think you've kind of seen that past two recruiting classes. It's been our best in 20 years and whatnot. So it's kind of cool to see him kind of connect. And obviously online, Twitter, he has a strong presence every time with the recruits and everything. It's just, he has everybody kind of tuned in, and just his personality and everything kind of clicks with the campus as a whole.
Brandon, he did something about 3 weeks ago, which I don't know if I've seen a coach go as far as he did when it came to the Tennessee investigation with Jeremy Pruitt. I mean, he was walking a fine line, but nothing seems to really faze him when it comes to being out there.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, you kind of saw it last year with the whole Dan Mullen situation. He comes out, may the force be with you comment, and obviously we saw what happened to Dan Mullen the next day, and he kind of issued his little kind of setback, but no, nothing seems to faze Coach Strink. Definitely quite a character, and I think just around Mizzou, that kind of just shapes his brand, and I think that's something that's going to help build identity with the college as a whole and kind of made him a name that sticks out to recruits.
He's got the great brand, he's got the great Twitter follow, but he does not have the record. What needs to change for him to continue on with that brand on that great campus?
Yeah, obviously. So a lot of things that he kind of talks about is development, and that's something that's going to be huge, especially this year. And so a big question that was raised a couple press conferences ago was, is a developmental coach one that can succeed in the SEC? That's something that we kind of have to find out this year, especially with Coach Strink. I mean, he's had these two recruiting classes. It's going to be cool to see how he kind of turns around this year. It's a big, I wouldn't say it's a prove-it year, but it's kind of one of those years where you kind of want to get back into the winning bowl conversation, kind of take some wins and kind of step up in that way. So I think it's just a big year for him to kind of make an impact.
Yeah, it's a big year primarily because he has a new boss, and she's been there for about a year, landed in August of a year ago. Let's talk about that relationship, because at some point, if he doesn't turn this around, it's going to get tense.
Yeah, for sure. And so obviously she's brought in, and I'm sure they've had quite a few conversations and everything, but it's really about what she sees fit for the program. And so I think that as a whole, you got to have trust in Drink and have trust in the culture as a whole, and we're going to see how it kind of turns out this year. Obviously, Brady Cook was recently named the quarterback, so we'll kind of see he's entering his first true year of starting, so that's kind of a big thing, and also with all the freshmen and obviously emerging sophomores from last year's class.
Yeah, and you alluded to it a minute ago, Brandon, the recruiting, which definitely took a nosedive prior to Drink getting the job. What can you tell us in terms of players that we are going to look at and go, wow, that's a sign that things are on the rise in Mizzou?
Yeah, I think the headlining name this year especially is Luther Burden out of East St. Louis. It's just five-star recruit, one of the big staples that Drink has kind of been able to keep kind of close to home. That's going to be a big name. Obviously, you'll see some other freshmen step up, but I think the headlining name right there is Luther Burden.
We're talking to Brandon Haynes, the sports editor of the Man-Eater, and Brandon, I want to talk a little bit about you for a second, because Missouri is at the absolute epicenter of journalism and communication in the academic world in this country. I had a chance to visit that J School a couple of years ago and spoke to some students, and I was nervous because of the many people that I've worked with and grew up around who were graduates of that school. What's it like to be part of that university, and especially in your current role at the Man-Eater?
Yeah, for me, it's a dream come true. I'm from just out of St. Louis, so I kind of have the ties to Mizzou, and I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've been able to watch Mizzou sports and kind of be a part of that. So when the opportunity arose for me to attend just jumped on that, and I've kind of embraced the role. And then obviously last year, I'm entering my sophomore year, so my freshman year I kind of just got started with the Man Eater, and I kind of developed into that sports editor role, and it's a cool experience to be able to say, oh, for one of the top premier journalism schools in the country, I'm a sports editor for one of their biggest papers. So it's just something unique for me and something that I hold true, and I'm very thankful for, and I have a lot of pride for.
Brandon, take us inside that operation, because a lot of places we're not really even seeing a product any longer. It's all digital. Missouri, I don't know, but I'm sure because there is a lot of pressure on there. There's a lot of eyes watching, not only internally but around the country, with an eye to the future, because there's so many prominent Missouri graduates. What's the day-to-day like for you?
Yeah, for me, it's just a lot of editing and everything like that, obviously, but it's a lot of talking with people around the community and fellow journalists and everything, trying to grab those ideas and try to implement them. For us as a paper, it's really just talking with each other and trying to build that rapport. Obviously, like you said, we're kind of switching to that digital kind of medium, and so what we're doing now is trying to make that shift, but also reinforce how important it is to have that print and be able to have people see kind of what that's like. And I think that's something extremely important because print is something not to be overlooked, even as we evolve into this more digital style writing.
Brandon, I know you're still young in your tenure there, and nobody's in a hurry, and don't be, to get out and join the real world, but what ultimately would you like to do, and where would you like to do it?
Yeah, so I'm still, like I said, a sophomore, so I'm still open to my ideas, but I know one thing for sure, and that's that I want to write. I like expressing people's voices, and I think especially athletes. Sometimes their voices aren't really heard. They're on some football players, they're on a team of however many players, and so their voices aren't always exemplified. And I think that's something that I can do and I want to do, is exemplify those voices. And one area I'm really interested in is women's sports, specifically collegiate women's sports. I think that's something to expand upon, and obviously we have room to grow as media, and I think that's kind of the area I want to focus on.
Well, that's fantastic, Brandon. Before you go, we're in talking to our student journalists, we're getting their thoughts on what the upcoming season will look like. So what's it going to be like this year for Mizzou?
It's going to be an exciting year, I think. Obviously, we've got some tough games, obviously, against Georgia, but we have some winnable ones. And I think the big thing about the season is going to be in those swing games, those games that obviously could go 50-50. I think you got a game against Kansas State that's going to be a real prove-it game for Blake Baker's defense. It's something that is just going to be, you got Deuce Vaughn over there at Kansas State, one of the top running backs in the nation. Going to test that Missouri defense, who struggled against the run last year, but it's a big chance to kind of step up there. You obviously got games against Auburn and Florida and Kentucky and Tennessee, and that Tennessee game is something I circled because of the revenge. Obviously, Mizzou got beat pretty bad last year at home, and Tennessee's probably something that they have got circled and that they want to get back in Knoxville. So I think it's going to be a good year. I project around 7 to 8 wins, and then you have a chance for your first bowl victory since 2014, which I think is something that all Mizzou fans are looking forward to.
Brandon Haynes from the Man Eater. What a pleasure. We will be in Missouri in the front half of the season, Brandon, and I hope you'll come by and say hello and get a chance to visit you on set. So thanks so much for making time.